Welcome to the latest Motley Fool scoreboard. I'm on in Chocolate. We've got longtime fools Travis Hoyam and Lou Whiteman giving a 1 to 10 rating to a company that's had quite the ride in the last few months. It's Robinhood, ticker symbol HOOD. Rate the strength of Robinhood's business first, including factors like industry and competition. A 10 is invincible. A 1 is hopeless. Travis is at a 9. He's not hiding his cards. Lou, he's at a 6.
Yeah, I'm usually the Debbie Downer on a lot of these shows, but Robinhood, I think, is just a phenomenal business today, and it's very different than what it was in 2020, 2021, when it was really a YOLO trading platform. They've moved into credit cards with their gold cards. Retirement accounts are growing like crazy. They have their gold membership, which is what you need to get one of those gold cards. So this is actually more of a Costco business model, I think, than a lot of people realize, because that membership really gets you to buy into the ecosystem. And that ecosystem continues to grow with the amount of products that they have, with the offerings, and they have global expansion. They're just hitting on all cylinders right now. Love what Robinhood is doing.
They've done a lot of things right. And, you know, look, there were a lot of missteps, unforced errors, some retreats, and that's kind of part of the model. And they've gotten a lot better than that. I think they've grown up. Why am I at a 6? For one thing, at the core, this is still a brokerage business. That is a tough business. It's commoditization. It is cycles up and down. And look, there is a real danger, or at least a real uncertainty in pushing the envelope. It works until it doesn't. I think it's going to be harder for them to be nimble and they just kind of become just another company, or they push the envelope in ways that could be a little more reckless, because at scale you need to move the needle. So I don't think it's infallible, but they've done a good job building what they've done.
Other areas like sports gambling. For management,
prediction markets prediction markets.
Sorry, prediction markets. For management, a 10 is Warren Buffett, a 1 is Homer Simpson, Lou's at a 7, Travis, you're at an 8.
Yeah, I'm only lower than a 10, Warren Buffett, because you're like, Lou's right. Vlad does push the envelope. Someday that may get him burned. I think this is what you have to do as a disruptive company, but you look at the history of Robinhood, their growth from absolutely nothing, their maturation over the past 2 or 3 years. I think this is a company that's growing up. Vlad is a big piece of that as the founder and CEO. So I got to go really high.
So 5 years ago, me doesn't believe I'm giving Vlad a 7. Yeah, and I don't know if he had deserved a 7 back then, but he has learned on the job, and I have to give him a lot of credit for sort of growing up. I also love Norm Eskenis, I think it is, the compliance vet who arrived in 2020. I think he gets a lot of credit for the growing up. I'm only at a 7 because Vlad is still that rebellious. There's still that rebellious young man inside of him, and he's still prone to the do it and apologize later mindset, and that can get you in trouble in a regulated financial market. But look, there's no one I would rather have in charge of Robinhood. So a pretty good 7.
If you like paying nothing for trades, Robinhood's the one that forced that kind of through in competition, and they keep pushing, which is scary and exciting as a shareholder, right? For financials, a 10 is a fortress, a 1 is yikes, Lou's at a 7, Travis, you're at an 8.
Yeah, their financials are good and getting better. They've really leaned into their cost structure, the fact that you can build out these digital businesses and have a ton of operating leverage on them without adding to headcount, without adding to operating expenses. So that's where you see the financial improvement. They've also launched a whole bunch of new products that are making this a more diverse business. You know, a couple of years ago, this was a company that generated a vast majority of its revenue on payment for order flow and options trading. That has really changed as they've got revenue now from credit cards. They have margin accounts. There's retirement accounts. There's lots of different things that they do. So this is a much better business, financially much more diverse business, and more profitable. So I love the direction.
The only question I'd give is, again, a lot of those businesses kind of ebb and flow, so I can't read too much into any quarter, but they are good. Look, the bottom line here is I don't think anyone is buying Robinhood based on the financials. I don't think there's anything to complain about either, so it's solid. It's a 7. It's not a wow, but it's a 7.
Lou, I think you're kind of maybe surprised at how high you've been rating Robinhood here. Let's see if that continues with valuation. How well will Robinhood stock do over the next 5 years, and how safe is it? 10's a sure thing, 1's a lottery ticket.
It's worth noting here the stock is up about 500% in the past year. And I know winners win, but there were a lot of one-time catalysts, so it's not just kind of to the moon. S&P inclusion has certainly helped. But look, I do think you're going to have a market perform at some point. I'm at 5 to 10%. Not the sky is falling, but just that rate slows. For safety, I'm at a 6. They're not without risk, but they are established.
Yeah, I just went a little bit higher. I am very bullish on the company, but you have to acknowledge that the price to sales multiple, I think today is probably 30 or so. It keeps going up as the stock continues to rise. So I've got a safety score of 5. I think you've got to acknowledge the fact that margin compression could be a headwind for the stock over the next 5 to 10 years. That margin expansion is really driven a lot of those gains that Lou talked about. So even if the business continues to grow at 30, 40, 50%, you could have a stock that goes effectively nowhere if those multiples compress. So just something to be aware of when you're trying to set those expectations.
Thanks to both Travis and to Lou. They've given Robinhood an overall score of 6.9 out of 10, with Travis a bit more bullish than Lou. In terms of top bets, Lou would rather have Charles Schwab, and Travis would rather have SoFi. Look out for a new scoreboard every market day at 7 p.m. Eastern. Next up is Sprouts Farmers Market. Till then, Fool on.